season 6, I believe, part 1, because we're getting 15 episodes for this is the final season of Cobra Kai, by the way. We're getting 15 episodes of the final season of Cobra Kai, and they're going to break those 15 episodes up into 5 parts. So part 1 comes out now, part 2 comes out I think in the wintertime, like maybe like November, December-ish, and then part 3 comes out in like the spring of next year or something like that. So it's almost like Street Fighter DLC with this thing. It's your boy Hakai with a Netflix TV review for you, going over that final season of Cobra Kai, episode 1, Peacetime in the Valley. So before we get started, hit the notification bell, like and or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and check me out on social media. So in the previous season, we took down the evil Terry Silver and his constituents. So now everyone's together. You know, like Eagle Fang is in the mix, Miyagi-Do is in the mix. Like they've all come together. And I forgot about the martial arts tournament, because that martial arts tournament, what is it, like the Grand Prix or the Grand World Tournament or something like that? There's some martial art, I forgot, like it's like the biggest martial arts tournament in the world, whatever. And every like the dojos, they've combined themselves now to prepare for this tournament, because they said that this is the biggest thing of all time. Daniel had even said to his wife, he said that after this tournament is over, he's basically done being a sensei and a karate instructor. He was like, yo, I'm out. So he's like, this is gonna be my swan song. And so it's like, that's like foreshadowing that the Karate Kid legacy, the series or whatever, is finally coming to an end. But I said, but it's cool, his wife's still hot. So now we're doing the damn thing, but we're trying to figure out what to call it, you know, because like Tori's there, you know, Miguel is there, Ravi's there, you know, Samantha's there, and like all the kids are there. Even the other kid, the fat kid who betrayed them, like he's back and everything. So, but they're trying to figure out what to call the dojo now that they're all unified under one banner. And the name that the kids came up with, which was the name that I came up with, which is pretty sure the name that everybody came up with because it's a no-brainer. They're like, just call the goddamn thing Miyagi Fang. But here's the problem. I feel like the Miyagi Fang name would have gone over very well if the logo was better. Like if it was a picture of Mr. Miyagi and like an eagle on his arm or whatever, looking proud and triumphant, everybody would have been fine with it. They'd have been like, okay, cool, and that would have been the end of it. They made a picture of Mr. They made a picture of Mr. Miyagi with like eagle eyes and fangs coming out of his mouth. And of course Daniel was like, fuck no. We're not doing that. You know, and then LaRusso, like, you know, he's arguing, and then Johnny's mad, and then the third guy, I forgot, the guy from part 2, I can't remember I can never remember this guy's name. The third guy, the Asian guy, he's just like, no, he's like, Miyagi-Do must remain, you know, like, because that's his tradition. And then Johnny's whole thing was like, yo, I built Eagle Fang from the ground up, so why do I gotta lose my name? And then the two of them decided to they were arguing, and then like the Asian dude and Johnny, they decided to have a fight. And the winner their dojo would get the honor of having the dojo being named after them. While they're preparing to fight, LaRusso basically, like, he didn't want them to, like, obviously he doesn't want to be called, you know, like Eagle Fang, but at the same time he didn't want them to fight either, because he's like, we're here for the kids and we're trying to basically, like, you know, quell all this bullshit, and now the two of you want to fight. So he goes to each one of them individually. He goes to the Asian dude's like, no, he's like, Miyagi, must reign supreme. And then he talks about how, like, he called the woman that he loved and then she never called him back, so now he's like upset and hurt on the inside. Johnny's whole thing was he bumped into Stingray. Stingray apparently is trying to revive the Cobra Kai name, and he's trying to get Johnny to come back and teach Cobra Kai. And he told him, he said, listen, Cobra Kai was cool when you were in charge of it. Like, this is your legacy, and Cobra Kai can be something good as long as you're in charge of it. And then Johnny started thinking, he was like, well, maybe you're right. But then Johnny's whole thing was like, he built Eagle Fang from the ground up. He turned it into something. His dojo got destroyed. He had to fold into Miyagi-Do, but he said that he actually built something personal for himself, and he doesn't want to have to lose that. But then finally, after talking to Stingray and seeing Stingray praising him for Cobra Kai, he didn't want to have anything to do with that. So now when they finally get to the part where the two of them are going to fight, Daniel got to the point where he was like, listen, it's not about a name. He said Miyagi didn't even like tournaments. He just wanted karate to be taught the right way. And he said if it means that much to Johnny to have the name, it's not about the name. It's about the art. It's about the spirit. You know, it's about the martial arts. So he said if it's that serious, let's just let Johnny have the name. So Daniel was willing to concede on that. And then Johnny shows up, and then he's just like, listen, I don't want to have anything to do with Cobra Kai. I don't want to be associated with Kreese or any of that shit. And he said that Eagle Fang is basically a different version of Cobra Kai, and I don't want to have anything to do with that. So he said it's about the kids, it's about the fighting, it's about the art. So let's just continue to call it Miyagi-Do. And they're like, oh, okay. The two of them fought anyway, and then that's when they ended up folding into the mix. Now regarding the kids, Samantha and Tori, they're like okay, but they're not cool. Like the beef is over, but they're not friends, and it's awkward because both of them dated the guys that each other's with now. But the boys, they ended up mending fences. They patched things up, and they're trying to get the girls to come around so they can be friends as well. They end up going on a double date. It was awkward as shit. While they were on the double date, they bumped into the black kid whose name I also can't remember right now. And now he was hurt because he was all in on Cobra Kai. He was all in with Terry Silver and everything. And then when the whole thing blew up in his face, like he felt hurt and betrayed. He was also mad at Robbie because he felt like Robbie abandoned him and like dipped on him when he was going through the situation with Cobra Kai and like left him for dead. He wasn't talking to Robbie. Him and Robbie hadn't spoken for a long time. He's still not talking to him. But when they went out on that double date, they saw him at the double date. So Robbie goes over and tries to talk to him, but then he was met by his older brother. Because as we remember in the first season, his older brother was in juvie, and his older brother met Robbie in juvie, and he told Robbie when he got out of juvie, he was like, yo, look after my brother, take care of my brother. But now he's out of juvie. And then he's just like, yo, he said that I heard that you left my brother for dead in Cobra Kai and all this other stuff. So he was like, yo, stay away from my brother. And then he pushed him away. And then after that, Robbie was talking to Miguel and everybody else, and he was like, listen, I need to reach him because I did abandon him. I do want to make that right. So then the girls were just like, well, do what you got to do and we'll have your back. Miguel was like, yeah, I'm on it. So nice to have the Blue Beetle on your side. So they go to the batting cages. Robbie tries to talk to him one more time, and then the brother stepped in. He was like, yo, I told you to stay away from my brother. He tries to kick Robbie's ass. That didn't work. And then Miguel came in. They tried to double team him. Like both brothers tried to fight, Robbie, and then Miguel came in. And then the girls came in and they tried to talk to the kid. They were just like, listen, this isn't who you are or whatever. But he was just so full of anger that he just couldn't see past like the hurt at that point. And then after that, then the security showed up, and then the older brother told younger brother, who's like, yo, we got to dip. I just came out of juvie, and I don't want that smoke. So when they went back to the black people house, and I was like, why the black? And at that point, I was like, why do black people got to be the villains? So, but then when they went back to the house, the younger brother, I think his name was Kenny, like he was practicing his martial arts, and then the older brother, he was looking at him, and he was just like, shit, I see it now. He said that you changed. You're not the same kid you were before. He said that you're darker. You're full of anger. You're full of hate. He said that you're just pissed off all the time. You're a great fighter, but he said, I feel like that emotion is being channeled into the wrong place. And then the brother conceded, and he was just like, listen, I think you actually do need to go to Miyagi-Do because I think they can help you. And then he was just like, nah, fuck that. He's like, yo, they're a bunch of pussies and everything. And then he was just like, nah, he was just like, yo, I don't want you to end up like me. He said, I ended up in juvie. And with all that anger that you have deep down inside, you're going to end up where I am if you don't do something to channel it. He's like, and as your big brother, like, I'm telling you, I think you need to go back to Miyagi-Do. And I was just like, huh. Even when Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso came to terms with the name, I was like, huh. And then even in the end, after the whole fighting thing and everybody came together at the batting cages, Samantha and Tori came together, and I was like, huh. So at the end of it, they decided to, fold under the Miyagi-Do banner. Kenny ended up showing up at the end. He ended up joining the ranks, and now all of them together under one name, under one banner, 3 senseis and like 50 million kids, and they're all going to come together and enter this tournament together and try to prove that that the Valley is the best when it comes to martial arts. And I was like, huh. And then at the end, finally, I think we were in Japan, because there were a bunch of Japanese kids that were fighting in the forest, and then Sensei Kreese comes out of nowhere, and he goes, yo, tell that hot Asian woman that Cobra Kai is back, baby, and we're joining the worldwide tournament. That was how the episode ended, and thank you for tuning in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so before we conclude the first episode of Cobra Kai Season 6, I've brought on a special guest so we can just quickly just talk about what we saw for the first episode and what we expect to see going forward with the final season of Cobra Kai. Please welcome Miss Day from Lyricism Dojo on YouTube. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you here. So you watched Cobra Kai. You've seen the first episode so far for the new season, correct?
Yes, I saw the first episode today, well, this weekend, and I watched season 5 last year with you, and watching this got me into season 1, episode 1.
Watching last season, and watching this season. I don't know how you felt. I just want to get your thoughts on this real quickly. The one aspect of this, because I watched the episode, and the episode was cool. The thing with the brother, with Kenny and his older brother, where like
Hmm.
he was like angry at first, but then in the end he came to him and he was like, "Hey, little brother, I think you should go back to Miyagi Do because you don't want to end up like me. You don't want to end up in juvie." I watched that whole thing and I was just like, huh, that's kind of touching. And then watching the whole thing with Johnny and with Daniel, how they were arguing over the name. And then in the end, Daniel was like, listen, we should just let Johnny have his name. And then Johnny came back and he was like, no, we should just keep Miyagi Do. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And then the dynamic with Samantha and Tori, how like they were enemies and then they came together to be friends and now they're like, cool. I don't know about you, but I'm like, this is the most mature I've ever seen these people on this show. Like I'm used to like beef. I'm used to he said, she said. I'm used to like cattiness behind the scenes. I'm used to like bickering. I am not used to a positive, friendly Cobra Kai. Like the amount of maturity in this episode honestly scared me. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, wow, we kind of like wrapped this up. I felt like instead of like going through all this drama for 40 minutes, I felt like the episode should have been over in 10 because everybody was just so happy to like put the past behind them. But I don't know what
Wow.
you thought about that. But to me, I thought it was the maturity of it. I thought it was funny.
Well, I mean, I don't have all 5 episodes behind me yet, but I definitely plan on getting into it. It does look like something worthwhile to really unpack, especially considering that watching the beginning of season one, I had my epiphany. Oh, this is Karate Kid. Oh, they're finally grown up. But I mean, the brothers in the beginning. I mean, it was encouraging to see that the older brother was looking out for him, but he was defensive in the beginning. But then, you know, afterwards, I did appreciate the fact that he was like, look, don't be like me, learn from my mistakes and things should be better.
And it was a little weird to see them too, because like what a difference a season makes. Because the actor who plays Kenny, that boy got big. Like that boy got big. Like everybody was stretching and working out and practicing in Miyagi Do. He comes around the corner like all like this and jacked. I'm like, Jesus, he looked like a professional wrestler. So I want to know what his workout regimen is. But so far, out of all the characters so far, who do you kind of have your eye on now? Like who are you looking at? And you're just like, hey, either this person looks like they're gonna have a good redemption, or is there somebody like, well, damn, like I think this person's going down in flames, or like who's the one character that you think we need to watch out for this particular season?
I can't say right now because I'm still a little I'm too superficial to it to be able to give my opinion at this moment.
So what was your overall thoughts of the first episode so far, especially coming after last season when Terry Silver was like terrorizing the valley, and then they put him, and then at the end of the episode, like Sensei Reese, like I think he's in Japan bringing back Cobra Kai like overseas. So just that end credit clip. What are your thoughts? Like, what do you think? Like, going like what's gonna? Because again, it's too perfect. Everything's too perfect. Like everything in the valley is too. There's too much kumbaya in the valley. So with with
And
with them with them getting ready to go to this big international fighting tournament and Sensei Kreese resurrecting Cobra Kai, like is there anything particular you're interested in looking for? Because me specifically, I'm actually like I'm at the point now where I'm not even concerned with all the backstage like politics and the drama. I honestly just want to see the tournament at this point.
well, I thought the miniature Cobra Kai was kind of interesting when he had all the little kids there. That was a little heartwarming. But I'm just looking forward to having something worthwhile to watch and getting into the prior seasons after we finally watch season six in its entirety. I really do think that it's something worthwhile to go back and start unpacking from the beginning.
Do you have like a favorite character that or like a character dynamic that you like more?
Mm, off the top of my head, I can't think of one specifically. I'm getting into all every character is unique. it was interesting how the girls were willing to, fight with the brother,
Yeah,
but they didn't fight. They grabbed him
yeah.
by his hands and stuff like that. But that was interesting to see a sparring session between, males and females where, it didn't get too crazy.
No, that's actually interesting too because you just brought up something I didn't think about. Up until this point, I don't think we've ever had a physical interaction between the guys and the girls. Like it's always been like guy versus guy or like girl versus. I don't think there's ever been a situation where a girl actually threw a punch at a guy up until that moment, and then it was like a 2-on-1 where it was both of them against him, and he did, and it was funny because when his older brother saw him get embarrassed by both of those girls, that's when he was kind of like, yeah, the fight's over, we need to go home,
Yeah, pretty much. I
because he's
think it
just
was
like,
the ego thing right there.
yeah, because he's like, oh, that Cobra Kai, and you ain't got it, bro. Like, they just whooped you behind real quick. But Tori and Kenny are the two characters I'm looking at the most because Tori, like she came from like the broken family, like the hard times. She was like a waitress and everything, and she was actually using karate as like an outlet to escape from like the trauma and like the drama that's going on in her life. So I want to see if she actually like completely rises out of that, and we don't do a thing where we go back to like her like living in the ghetto or whatever the case may be, and she can just actually just like move forward with her life. And I kind of want to see where Kenny goes because his brother is right, like that boy got like hit like legitimate like hate in his eyes. And I just want to, even being in the same place with Daniel's youngest son, because remember he teased him throughout the entire season 5. He kept calling him like Lapusso, like and all these things. So having both of them in the same place at the same time where Kenny's trying to get over his anger and his aggression, that's probably like the number one thing I'm gonna keep my eye on. And also it's always good to see Blue Beetle on screen. So
Oh yes, I was definitely thinking about Jaime.
yeah. And it's like it's weird now because like on the show his name is Miguel, but like you said, every time I see him, I'm like, Jaime. Like I only see him as the Blue Beetle now. So it's just, that'd be cool. So overall thoughts for the first episode, like we're definitely gonna keep this one going and ride it out to the end.
Definitely.
All right. So we hope to have you on the show before maybe the episode 5 finale because the final season is getting 15 episodes and they're breaking those 15 episodes up into 5 different parts. So we're gonna have a lot of this Cobra Kai to cover for you guys. Like we ain't going nowhere. So before we get out of here, tell the people again where they can find you.
My YouTube channel is Lyricism Dojo. That's Lyricismdojo.
So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Check me out on social media. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. I'll be right here because I got My Adventures of Superman, the season finale up on my channel. I got that Suicide Squad Isekai. I've also got Kite Man series up on my channel. We got that Cobra Kai, and I got that swimsuit coming for y'all. That swimsuit fashion show coming for y'all pretty soon. Give me like one more week or so, and it'll be there for you. So until next time, guys, for some Cobra Kai action, take care. Bow down to the Miyagi door. And we are out this bitch.